I came out 2 years ago at Mainnet, the first one live that we did, to Hulk Hogan's entrance music, and the market ripped for the next 3 months. I came out to AC/DC last year and everybody died. So it's wrestling music from now on every single time I go on stage. But I want to thank everybody for coming to Mainnet 2023. This is the third year we've done this in person, but this is actually the sixth or seventh conference that I've done with the team that originally built Consensus and now is back working on Mainnet with me and the Messari team. So it's a tremendous production. Hopefully you're able to go to the booths, enjoy the agenda. I think this is the best program we've ever put together. It's easy because I'll start with one of my favorite quotes: the cowards never started, the weak died along the way. That leaves us, Phil Knight. And that's what this year has felt like. That's what mingling at some of the events this year has felt like. All the cowards and all the weak have pretty much died, so we're the designated survivors, and we're basically all that's left. But from that kernel, I think that there's a lot to be excited about. And, you know, it's interesting timing to be hosting Mainnet in New York a week after F1 and Token 2049, which some of you may have made both trips. And Token 2049 was, I heard, out of control. And New York used to be the hub for those big, you know, global gatherings for crypto. And I think it's been a little bit more subdued in the US the last couple of years for good reason, because we're not really talking about the toys, the tech. So many conversations are like, what's Gary Gensler going to do? What's my lawyer going to say? You know, what do we need to do on the policy front? And don't get me wrong, we have some terrific policy people here this week. We've got a bunch of lawyers. We love all of our lawyers in the industry, especially if you live and work in New York in the US. But ideally, we're a couple years away from turning the corner on this and getting back to building, innovating, thinking about how to get these technologies in the hands of billions of users and ultimately crossing the chasm and realizing crypto's full potential. So we're not leaving New York, right? Like Wolf of Wall Street style. Like, I'm not fucking leaving, right? This is where we started. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. This is the global financial center. It will continue to be the global financial center as long as we keep pushing the envelope and pressing and kind of defending our home court and making sure that we can brute force some reasonable policy frameworks and some, I think, reasonable solutions for a lot of what we've been facing the last couple of years, but especially the last year and the backlash that followed from FTX's collapse. The US is worth fighting in. The New York City is worth fighting in. It's absolutely, I still think the US is the home for crypto innovators. We have constitutional protections that are very unique and well suited to defend crypto: the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Second Amendment. So it's worth fighting here. We also have two of the world's largest dollar stablecoin issuers. I would say the largest two dollar stablecoin issuers, because Tether's a euro dollar. No disrespect to Tether, but we're going to hear from Jeremy. We've got the largest custodian and exchange operator, and Brian Armstrong, coming tomorrow, or at least the one that is traveling freely globally. No disrespect meant. We've got some of the largest asset issuers in the world. We've got some of the largest investors. It's all in the US. It's still all in the US. Despite all the roadblocks, despite all the encumbrances that we face as an industry, this is still, I think, the nexus for where the future of finance is going to be built. So that kind of brings me to my second point. So you'll look around the agenda. We got a lot of cool sessions around decentralized physical infrastructure networks, layer 1 versus layer 2 innovations, you know, what's going on with some of these decentralized social applications. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be talking about the next few days. But a couple of people made a comment to me, man, there's a lot of policy and regulatory focus panels. And I'm like, yeah, because we can't get away from it. The fight's here, right? And a couple years ago when the infrastructure bill passed, some of you, if you follow me on Twitter, know that sometimes I have things to say that I'm not bashful about. And what I had said at the time was, crypto is not apolitical. Never has been, really. But I think the political moment for this industry and the engagement moment for this industry is here now, and it's not going away until we actually get some reasonable frameworks enacted. Europe is a little bit ahead of us, Asia is a little bit ahead of us, but I think where the rubber meets the road is really here in the US, making sure that there's reasonable paths for all the folks you're going to hear the next couple of days to actually build their businesses, grow, thrive, and get these products in the hands of millions and billions of users. And to that end, I'm excited to not only have some pioneers of the industry, some of the kind of leading thinkers and investor luminaries that are going to be joining the stage, but we also have Senator Gillibrand from New York, who's going to be joining us, Rep. Torres, Richie Torres, also a congressman from New York, two of the, I think, most thoughtful Democrats that have taken some political risks and crossed the aisle in certain cases to work with Republicans on some reasonable proposals. And then, as you may have heard at the end of the day today, we also have the highest polling presidential candidate that's ever joined a crypto conference in Vivek Ramaswamy, who's going to be joining me for a fireside chat. So I got people from both sides. I don't want to hear any bitching. We got people from both sides, so if you don't like some of their policies, that's fine. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat. I think now is the time for this conversation. We're excited to have those different perspectives that are going to join the stage, not to mention all the tremendous people from the regulatory and policy sphere that are in the trenches working in DC right now on some of these solutions. So it's going to be a great show. I have 4 minutes left, I see, for my opening remarks, but I would rather take a little bit of that extra time with Jeremy. Before I do that, though, I just want to thank everyone here that showed up, that volunteered to speak, that's traveled, in some cases back to back to back weeks, like Jeremy and I were just talking about. He was in Korea, and then he was in Singapore, and now he's here. So I got to get on whatever Z-Pack supplements he's on, because he still looks bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But I know a lot of people are traveling a lot. I know budgets are tight. So for those that sponsored, for those that bought a ticket, and for those that just invested in the travel budget to be here, it's going to be a great audience, really high talent density the next few days. So I think everybody's going to have a great time. And thank you especially to our platinum sponsors, KeyRock and Coinbase. But really all the sponsors that we have, you can see them on the big monitors. You can see them in the booths. Go talk to them. They're the folks that make events of this size possible, especially in a city like New York, where real estate is hard to come by. And as you can see, they've invested a lot to help make this happen. So without further ado, I would like to welcome a gentleman that I've known for 10 years now, that gave me a courtesy interview back when he wanted to really hire one of the friends that I was working with, who was an engineer. He interviewed both of us. He hired one, and it was absolutely the correct decision. I always make a point to bust Jeremy's chops for it ever since. But Jeremy Allaire, one of the world's greatest executives, and certainly one of the OGs of crypto. Please come on down. Jeremy.